Hello and welcome to a lovely Scottish forest. Oh, this has been a disaster so far. I'm only about 100 metres in, but I've done probably about a kilometre. Oh, the midges, oh, they're horrendous. Anyway, I firstly took the wrong path, went about 300 metres up that way. Then I got to this point and realised I'd left something in the car which I needed for my camp. I had to go back and get it. So I'm absolutely knackered and I've hardly got any distance at all. Anyway, I can see where I'm going behind me. When you see me doing my next walk by, you'll see the lovely cliffs where I'm heading up. I was thinking about camping in the forest, but you know what? Due to these midges, I don't know if you can see them, but due to them I'm going to go high and hopefully catch a breeze and get out the forest. Beautiful though, lovely big mountain behind me which you might recognise. Anyway, I'll report back later on, and this buff is worth its weight in gold at the moment. Right, let's go. I'll speak to you in a wee while. Up through the old Caledonian forest I went, and it's always lovely when you get to experience this. There's not that many places in Scotland where these old pines remain. Anyway, I knew that what lay ahead once I got out of the forest was going to be a lot more rocky and a lot steeper, but there's a really well engineered path that takes you up. But for the time being I was just constantly moving because there was a few thousand of my little friends ready to pounce on me every time I slowed down or stopped. However, apart from that, it was rather nice. What a lovely path this is, and I'm starting to get above the tree line. It's thinning out now. A lovely wee burn. There's not much in it because it's been quite dry recently, but there's something lovely, I don't know if you agree or not, about walking through forest, especially pine forest. I find it doesn't have to be pine forest though. I just get a bit of a reset even at home when I'm out with the dogs and I walk in the local forest. I know there's just something really nice about it, and it's even nicer today because I know once this forest stops I'm up into the hills and the views are already starting to open up. And I'll maybe explain and go through a bit of my planning on this trip. Once you get the tent up and what have you, I'll do a bit of explaining of why I've chosen to come here, where I am, and the reasons behind it. But not high enough yet for a breeze. These midges are starting to sense dinner again, so yeah, I'm not going to stop long. Let's go before I am eaten alive. But the views are worth it. Yeah, and I know a lot of you like to play Where's Murray in the video, so see if you can guess what this famous mountain is, which has just got its head in the cloud behind me. Before I tell you when I get up here, but it's a rather well known mountain in Scotland. Whilst you're trying to figure out exactly which mountain it is, just take a thought and think about those people that have engineered the path up this mountain, especially on the steeper part. As you can see, it's a very, very rocky path. There are a few bits of vegetation, but in Scottish terms, it's about as rocky as it gets, and it's been carved out of the rock, the path that is, in certain places. A really, really fine job. And the fact that it's steep on a cliff gives you these magnificent views back down over the loch. It was lovely, really nice. Now that I was out of the forest, I was starting to get more expansive views of the landscape round about me. Anyway, up I went, and yeah, you had to be sure-footed heading up in this terrain. Just watch out for those loose rocks on the slabby sections which can act like ball bearings. Oh, well, this is tiring. It's quite warm and there's not much of a breeze, so the midges are still following me up the hill. I'm just over halfway and I'm just going at a steady plod just to try and keep away from the midges. The only time I'm really stopping is when I'm doing bits to camera. And I'm wearing my rock shoes, or not my rock shoes, that's a lie, my scrambling boots. And I'm glad that I did. I have been up here before, so I kind of knew how rocky it would be. These are virtually useless on the slabby rocks, but there is a bit more greenery up here where these might help. But yeah, the scrambling boots are a bit more grippy on these slabs. I wouldn't call it a grade 1 scramble, but there's a few bits where you have to put your hands on the rock. Makes it interesting. It's lovely. Anyway, let's see and let's hope that once I get up here, there's a wee bit more of a breeze to blow these midges away, because it ain't going to be much fun if there's not, because we are in midgie season in Scotland, and that is not a laughing matter. Oh dear. This is a bit better for the poles now. The rocky path certainly has an alpine feel about it. Not just the amount of rock that's on it, but these marker cairns that are found all the way up. Very nice. Anyway, I sort of got over the hard part, and I was kind of worrying a wee bit about the pitch. You know, would I find somewhere that would be flat and not rocky when I got up there? Anyway, the next thing I had to worry about was the rain. It doesn't look too bad here, but within the space of a few minutes, the heavens opened, and yeah, I wasn't looking forward to pitching the tent. I was kind of hoping that it was just going to be a shower and that it would be dry by the time I got to the summit. The summit at last. Yes. I'm glad to see this. There was a bit of a pull up there. It was steep wee hill, and this is a mountain called Leah Buoy. Very nice rock, light coloured rock up here, and it sits at 560 metres, so it's not a big massive Munro or Corbett, but it's a grand viewpoint. As I said before, I've been here before, so this is why I was keen. And I was really keen. I said there was a famous mountain that way, and those of you that haven't guessed what it was, that's the mighty Sleoch across Loch Marie, and I've started from Loch Marie, which isn't far off sea level, so I've earned every one of those 560 metres. But one of the reasons I came up here was to get the view of another mountain, which unfortunately at the moment you can't see because of the clag. But hopefully as the camp goes on, it might clear and we might get views of it, but I'll reveal all in a little while. There's also a loching down there, another reason I chose this hill. About 100 metres there for me to get water, so I didn't have to carry too much up with me. But for now, it's getting on a bit. It's not far from 8 o'clock, so it'll be getting dark in the next hour or so. I need to find a place to pitch the tent, and I really want a place with a view south to this other mountain. So I'm going to go round here and have a wee gander and see if I can find a pitch. There's no completely grassy flat, billiard flat bits, but that's the norm in the top of the mountain. So this bit here's, there's a few rocks, but nothing too bad. And there's a wee bit of grass. So I think I'm going to pitch here. I've got, again, this is why the thicker ground mats come in handy. It does give you a better night's sleep, as I've talked about. There's also a little breeze here. I could have dropped down to the lock-ins, but they're quite sheltered, which you might think is great, but as I found out in the sheltered forest, that also means the attack of the midges on when you're down there. So there's a wee breeze here, relatively good pitch, and you know what? Oops. If this mountain clears, I'll be able to show you that from the tent at some point. So yeah, I'm literally just on the summit here. This looks as good a place as any, so let's get the tent up. Yeah, trusty scarp. Yeah. Forecast wasn't, it's actually a bit worse than forecast. Forecast was for the cloud level to be above the Munros, but hey ho, you might lift, you win some, you lose some, I'm not going to complain. It's always nice to get out. I don't know if you notice, it doesn't always work, but I tend to tie up my guy lines because they can get all tangled. And it seems to have worked this time. It's quite nice. Right, let's concentrate on this, am I right? I'm just about there. I've still to blow up my ground mat and get the sleeping bag in, but I'm just going to take the hat off. Oh, it's amazing, if the wind drops down even so slightly, the mid to back, but the rain's gone off, so I'm going to change my jacket. Yeah, so the rain's gone off, but it's getting a wee bit chilly, although we're Scottish summer. It's a wee bit chilly, so this is a bit, it's not waterproof, but it's a bit warmer. So I'm going to put my buff back on. The reason I like wearing my buff, I think I mentioned it earlier on, but I didn't tell you why, is when it protects your ears, not only for soaking up the sweat when it was warmer down there, but it stops the midges. This has been soaked in permethrin. It doesn't stop the midges landing on it, but it certainly stops them going into your ears and buzzing around. So I'm going to keep that on. I might put my wee woolly hat on top of it, because I'm a wee bit cold. But yeah, I'm going to get the ground mat out, get my sleeping bag, and I'll be down for water. I'm going to make some tea. So I'm blowing up my summer sleeping pad, which is a Sea to Summit Etherlite XT. And I've also got my water on for my tea because I'm that hungry. I'm multitasking, which is something I don't usually do, or I'm usually not good at. The other thing, which is maybe a useful tip, is whenever I try to anyway, when I'm blowing up my sleeping pad, I try and do it on soft grass. I did once have an issue years ago where I was blowing up on a rock or a bit of dry heather, and it pierced the the ground mat, and I had to fix it. It wasn't ideal, so I always try and do it on something relatively soft, just to protect it. Oh, I tell you what, the midges are back. Need that wind to pick up a wee bit. I think my water's just about ready. I'm going to turn that off. Get my food in there in a minute. Keep that away from anything hot as well. Because without the sleeping pad, especially on this hard ground with the rocks, it'd be a rather uncomfortable night's sleep, I can tell you that much. What a mess. Look at the state of this. You can tell it's not windy because half of this stuff would have blown away. Right, let's just get my sleeping bag in, and then I can make my camp a bit tidier. I don't like having a dirty camp, which is strange because my office is a tip. Right, and the Sea to Summit Spark 2 summer sleeping bag today as well. Be nice and cosy. And what I use as a pillow is I use one of the dry bags and pops into my jackets, and that's always done me fine. I've never needed to get a blow-up pillow. I did have one for a wee while, but I never really used it. I tend to find popping stuff in the dry bags is a bit better. Okay, right, time to tidy up a wee bit. Having done a bit of tidying up and letting my food heat up in the boiling water, I decided to head down to those nearby loch-ins, which, as I mentioned, were another reason I chose this spot for camping. It can be quite useful having a water source nearby. It means you don't have to lug so much up, and you know you'll have enough for coffee in the morning. So I collected that and made my way back to camp. I feel good now. I've got the water. The tea's been heating up there, so that should be warm enough. That's taking me about 10 minutes. And that'll last me until I get back down tomorrow. So happy days. It can be quite busy setting up camp. You know that people ask, what do you do all the time? The time I've set all this up, got my food on, collected water, it's barely enough time for the whiskey. It's shocking. Right, I'm going to go and sit and have my tea and then have some whiskey. Right, let's see if this is getting on. Wow. I was just chilling in the tent. After having my food, I was watching some downloaded videos from YouTube, which is something you can do if you go into the premium YouTube or subscribe to premium. It's quite good because there's no signal here, and it allowed me to sit and chill and watch some other YouTube videos. I watched RS Outdoors and a bit of Paul Messner there, which was very entertaining. Anyway, I've come out, I noticed a wee bit of change in the light. It's probably not too far from sunset, but I was going to tell you why I've chose this. I think I talked about that, and I'll come on to that in a minute. But over here you can see the mountain that I was talking about earlier on that you could see on the way up, and it's of course Sleoch, which I can't remember if I revealed that. I think I maybe did. But you can see the top of it now, the clouds kind of moving around. It's quite atmospheric, and it looks like it might clear, but it's this mountain range over here I want to show you. And we're in, I suppose we're in the back end of Torridon, and it's Ben A. In fact, I can just make out at the top the cloud might lower and it looks like the cloud's halfway up the mountain. I'll spin you around and show you in a minute. So yeah, we're in the back end of Torridon, and yeah, things might be alright. The wind's picking up as well, and the midges have disappeared, so let me just show you. Might be the best view we get the whole time. Yeah, you probably can't make out in the camera the very top. In fact, it's starting to clear. I'm pretty sure it is. So I might report back later on. It's lovely though. It will be lovely if that cloud clears. But why did I choose to come here? It's been really hectic in my day job, and although this seems like it's a bit of work hiking up a mountain and especially doing all the filming, I kind of find it's a bit of a release for me. It kind of takes my mind away from things and allows me to hit the reset button. Especially the wild camps, once I've got up and I've got settled down, I can just relax, and your mind isn't on day-to-day things, you know, job, work, all that sort of stuff. And I find it really quite therapeutic, and it helps me. Almost like a type of meditation. So I was keen to come for a wild camp, and I didn't have that much time. So I chose this location. I kind of looked through the maps and thought about places I'd been before, and of course I have been here before. I'll put some footage up now. I came up in the winter. Over here in the cloud is a Corbett, and I came up this way, and I knew at this point here, I didn't need to go right to the top. We're at about 550, 600 metres here, and going up to the top of the Corbett would be another 400. That's a lie, it'd be a Monroe if it was that. Another 300. Maths was never my strong point. Yeah, maybe another 200 or 300 metres up there, and I would have been pushing it to get the tent up and tea, and there'd be no water up there, and yada yada yada. But I knew the views here, which are turning out to be, were quite special, and I'm feeling quite confident that we're going to get a view in the next half an hour. So yeah, I pored over the maps and places I've been before, and I saw that this spot here, it's not actually too far as the crow flies, although it is that 560 metres as well earned, because it's probably like 2 or 3 kilometres you have to ascend all that distance. So it's steep, and it's a very well engineered path actually. It's very, very rocky, very reminiscent of some of the cliffs and what have you on the continent. But yeah, this is lovely. I think that's going to clear, so we'll come back and I'll do a bit of camera in a wee bit, and we'll see what's happened with the views. Oh, it's getting on a bit now. I tell you what, it's not warm. It's hard to believe. Earlier in the week it was the warmest day ever in Scotland. I think it was about 35, 36 degrees down in the borders, and where I come from it was in the low 30s, which was rather uncomfortable, but it's definitely not that now. I am actually quite cold. I'm glad I've got my hat on and my buff, and even though I've got my jumper on and my fleece, I'm still cold. I'm kind of wishing I brought my duvet jacket, but that's Scotland for you. Wouldn't have it any other way. Anyway, the Ben A behind me didn't really completely clear. It's kind of coming and going. I don't know if you can make it out behind me. It's kind of, yeah, clouds rolling in, and every now and again the peaks are showing themselves. So I'm hoping in the morning we might get a better view of it, but yeah, time will tell. But yeah, another thing which I never talked about was another reason why I chose to come, not right to the top, but to this point here, is I knew there would be a wee bit of a breeze, and earlier on it was dying down, and whenever it died down, those midges were attacking me. So the camp in the forest was never going to happen. I would have been it would have been misery with the little blighters, the midge. If only we could have Scotland without the midge. What a wonderful place it would be. Anyway, the trip's done the trick. I'm feeling a lot more relaxed now. I'm actually off for the next couple of weeks, so what a great way to start the break. And the camp has just kind of relaxed me down. I have had some whiskey. It was Glenlivet tonight, one of my favourites, and my usual snack was some, what was it, smoked chili sensation peanuts, which again is a treat, so I don't get them at home, as you know. because of my son's allergies. So anyway, I'm going to shop now, and I'm going to hit the hay, and I'll report back in the morning, and we can see then if we'll get a view of the mighty Ben A. But time to chill in the tent and maybe head into the sleeping bag and go to sleep and warm up. Night night. Oh, good morning. I've been up for about half an hour. It is, yeah, just coming up for 7:30. And I've opened up the door and had a wee look outside to see if I could see that view to show you, because I was really keen to show it to you. And yeah, let me just show you what the views are outside. Look at that. Nothing. just a sea of grey. So spin the camera around. Yeah, so the clouds down. It might lift a wee bit. I don't know. I know that the weather's incoming today later on, so this might be the band of clouds coming in before the rain, unfortunately. So I might not get to show you that view. Although you did kind of see it last night. But yeah, I slept okay last night. I was that knackered, to be honest with you. I didn't even let air out of my air mattress, which is something I always suggest you do for a comfier night's sleep. But I was that tired last night, I couldn't be bothered doing it. And yeah, I woke up a few times, but slept pretty well. So let's get up, let's get some coffee on. Let's hope that this cloud clears, perhaps, before heading down so we can see the views. I'm not feeling very hopeful that's going to happen. Right, some coffee. Every time. Turn it the wrong way. You think I'd learn, eh? Look at this coffee. Lovely. Sun's coming out. Here. Wow. Got a breeze here. Got half the coffee in the camera now. Oh, that's nice. I've got these Kenko latte sachets and just a normal 2-in-1 Nescafe one, which I put in. It does me quite nicely. So for breakfast I've got pork pies. Pork pies, I've 2 of them, and I've also got a bar of Snickers which I'll have. And I'm just watching Ben A come and go out of the cloud now, so I might be able to show you in its full glory, depending on if this cloud clears and how long it takes me to strike camp. So I'm going to have my breakfast just now, and then I'm going to start taking the tent down and head back to the car. But fingers crossed. Sleoch behind me. Sleoch's clear. It's beautiful. Lovely. Might not be as bad as I thought it was going to be when I woke up. I've not left anything in the tent. I sometimes get home and I'm like, what's that in the tent? And I've left a light or a headlight or something. So I always like to shut all the doors and down before I take the tent down. Just makes it easier when I'm taking it back out again. So let's get all these guy lines loosened off. And I think I said this when I was putting the tent out. These guy lines are quite long. I should really shorten them, but what I've been doing is tying them up into a nice wee bundle, which means they don't all get tangled when the tent comes back out again. So that's the plan. Choosing this location beforehand had worked out well. I knew it wasn't too far as the crow flies from the road, and I knew there was water sources nearby and flat areas to pitch, albeit a bit rocky because I'd been there before, and also it had those views. It almost ticked all the boxes. There was another fine camp on the hill. Oh, it's starting to clear as if by magic just as I'm heading just as I'm heading off the mountain. Still a wee bit of cloud, but I think that's about as good as we're going to get, especially the weather on the slide. Right, that's everything. I always give one last check that I've not left anything lying about and I've tidied any mess away and all that. Oh, a wee bit of sunshine, but further beyond the sun on the horizon, the clouds just seem to be getting darker and darker. So I think it's time to head back and back down to the car. So it's been a great trip. It's done everything that I wanted it to. Just a wee reset. I feel refreshed and ready to enjoy my holidays now. And it's a wee bit of exercise, some lovely views, absolutely stunning. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. As always, stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Right, time for this down climb. Let's go.